right, so we're back.
Yes.
We get to talk detox box again, but today I want to talk about something that's kind of a little bit of a touchy subject for some people, and it's what we call detox reaction. You know, we have a lot of people out there that are starting the detox, are starting to get amazing results. Keep those stories coming. I love watching them, but some people are having a little bit of a hard time. So let's kind of talk about, you know, you just started the detox and now all of a sudden, you know, you don't feel great.
Yes.
So let's talk about that, what people should expect and what kind of things you see on a regular basis in your practice.
So the most common things we see is a little bit of constipation. We see some headaches, a little fatigue, sometimes some nausea, but those are typically the ones that we see the most that are easily repaired and pushed through.
So, okay, I want to make sure everyone understands this because detox, people normally think, you know, detox and that means I'm going to poo a lot more, but you said constipation.
Yes.
So what's kind of going on in the body when you're starting a detox where you could actually become constipated?
Okay, so there's a couple different things. One, obviously, and we've mentioned this at least I think once, if you don't drink enough water, we're going to have an issue. But what we haven't really gone through is the 5 key things that make bowel function happen. So probiotic and roughage we've got down because that's the beginning part of it. Water we've all talked about, that's down. A high quality salt, like a Celtic salt or a great Himalayan pink salt. Your adrenal medulla is fed a lot by salt, high quality salt, not white table salt. But the adrenal medulla's job is to control fluid levels in the bowel and allow things to flow out. So we got to make sure that our quality salt is up. And then oils. So olive oil, coconut oil, MCT oil, some type of oil to help kind of move things through. So that's the other piece of this. So sometimes when we start to detoxify the body starts trying to push everything out, it gets jammed. It needs just a little bit more help from those 5 pillars to kind of move everything through.
So let's talk about bile function because this is one of the things, you know, I've had to explain this to a few people now. You know, bile basically goes one of 2 directions. We want it to go down, but unfortunately sometimes when people detox, it comes up.
Correct.
So let's explain kind of what that is, what you feel, and how that's unfortunately part of the process for some people. So
one of the most important things we're trying to do when we talk about cleaning the liver or detoxing the liver is to move that congealed bile out. And the reason, so if you have a tube and there's little stones stuck in that tube, nothing can flow through. So as you dilate those and everything starts moving, those bile can flow out. Sometimes it flows really fast. And if it ends up in the stomach, you're going to get nauseous. And that's not a horrible thing, but it is something that does happen. You'll burp a little bit and you go, oh, it tasted weird, or that reminds me of when I'm nauseous. That's okay. It's just cleaning your liver out and everything's flowing through. So that's probably the biggest piece that we get from a detox reaction bile-wise.
What about some people that are getting kind of what they feel like is like a heartburn or indigestion or something like that? Kind of, let's go through this one because, you know, I'm basically trying to take all of those questions we're getting in and say, okay, I'm going to ask you about all of it because we want to make sure people are getting their answers.
So there's a couple different reasons on the heartburn. One, it can obviously be the bile issue that we just discussed. The other thing is that when we get into a stressed out sympathetic state, we quit producing hydrochloric acid in the gut. If we start cleaning the body up, there's a chance you're going to produce more hydrochloric acid because that's what you're designed to do. If you have any issues, hiatal hernias, any small ulcers or anything in the stomach, it's going to start burning a little bit more than it used to. So these are very typical things that happen as the body starts kind of coming back on and kind of turning itself back on. Most of these things, I ask people, I'm like, how bad is this? They're like, well, it's pretty uncomfortable, but I can get through my day. I tell them that's fine. As soon as it gets to the point where it starts interfering with your day, it's time to stop.
So let's talk about a very unique situation, but there's a large percentage of people out there. And by the way, we didn't rehearse this, so he has no idea what I'm about to ask him. So this is always fun. You're getting it raw. What about those people that no longer have a gallbladder? Okay. Is the detox for them? Is this something that, you know, they should consider, or, you know, that's a question we've gotten more than once?
So let me go through my whole spiel on gallbladder. So people always talk about gallstones, and I always say there's no such thing as gallstones. And people look at me and go, no, trust me, I've had them. Okay, this is my ring, this is my hand. This is my ring in my hand. It is not a hand ring. The gallbladder holds bile the liver produces. So if the liver produces good, clean bile, your gallbladder has good, clean bile in it to then use to emulsify fats. However, if you lose B6 or one of the other reasons, and the bile starts to congeal, if the liver produces bad stuff, it's gonna put bad stuff in its bag that it holds stuff. So we're gonna have gall issues there. So if you don't have a gallbladder anymore, which probably because we needed to spend some time cleaning the liver and restoring those B6 levels anyway. So yes, we definitely need to continue to clean the liver out, because if you tell me you had your gallbladder cut out, what you're telling me is that you've already had liver issues that went undiagnosed. And so we need to go back and really kind of work on that liver.
And, one of the things that a lot of people don't appreciate is how good milk thistle, which is part of our liver detox, actually is for people that don't have a gallbladder, because of what it actually helps in breaking down, bile and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about the liver. Obviously, that's our main big filter. Let's talk a little bit about kidney detox and some of the uncomfortable things that can come along with kidney detox.
So one of the major reasons that we do kidney detox throughout is because what I found in what I do, it is the limiting reagent. It is the thing that's going to stop us faster than anything else. And so when we overload the kidney, from Eastern medicine, what we see is anxiety, a little bit of depression, low back pain, joint pain. So you can sometimes feel like you have the flu. You just kind of feel ugh, and really run down. Those are really good indications that we're putting too much pressure on the kidney. So more kidney support, more water works great. Maybe a nap. Some of these things can kind of help get through. But again, that goes back to that whole, if it's really interfering with your day, stop. But if not, go ahead and push through it, because we need to get these toxins out.
So let's also talk about the gut, because there's a lot of people out there right now that have what I would call undiagnosed gut issues that are associated with any number of other diagnoses. And again, we don't cure, prevent, treat, or diagnose anything. We help support, those things. We're not saying that at all. But what we are saying is there's a lot of people dealing with a lot of gut issues, and what we're introducing is, in this environment of detoxification, is a lot of stuff that's got to go through the gut to get out.
Correct.
So let's talk about some of the rolling stomach and the bloating and the gassiness and why that's happening given everything that we're doing.
So one, we're going to be killing yeast. And one of the fun things about when you kill your yeast off is that you start to notice your sugar cravings generally decrease, because your yeast really wants to eat sugar. But as we start getting in there and stirring this up and start moving things out, there's oftentimes a little bit of, regurg or blowback that we're going to end up getting. And so we'll get a little bit of bloating, we'll get a little bit of gas as these things are going through. And as we start breaking up pockets of just long held nasty, those things will release chemicals as well that are going to kind of add to this bloating and this gas stuff as we start moving it all through. But it usually will move all the way through, and we'll be much better off at the end.
So let's talk about the people that some people, they're taking the detox and they're like, you know what, this is great. I'm seeing some changes. I'm feeling lighter. No big deal.
Yeah.
Others are having a little bit harder time.
Correct.
So let's talk about the difference between those, because it's not age dependent. It's not weight dependent. It's not body composition dependent. It literally is a toxin dependency. So let's kind of talk about, what that experience is and what they might want to consider doing in addition to what they're currently doing with the detox.
So obviously the more toxic somebody is, the more we have to move out. And so if we're moving out larger quantities at higher speeds, we're going to have more of a reaction. And so that's one of the things that happens. And people say, well, I'm not that toxic. One of the major things that creates toxicity within our body is skewing our body from a parasympathetic state to a sympathetic state. So that stress, that psychological stress we've had for months, weeks, years, decades, that's going to add to it. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, I've never had these issues before, but I've had a lot of stress, or, I have a family and a job and that type of thing for a long time, those things will be creating more and more issues. So some people are going to be able to just deal with that better, and some people are going to be constantly cleaning their body. Other people have restrictions that they go through. IDLF, I think, would be the perfect place to talk about MTHFR issues. So if we have genetic deletions that don't allow us to fully methylate B vitamins, we're going to have major issues with toxic buildup over time. And so things like that are going to create a position where someone's going to have more toxins. And if we flush them out and it gets faster than their body would like, we're going to start seeing reactions.
You mentioned something which is interesting, because there's a lot of people, detox box is the first thing they've been introduced to. And obviously IDLife has been doing genetic testing for a long time with our partner molecular testing labs. And, one of the things that they do is actually tell us how our body actually metabolizes certain nutrients. One of the things that we have learned in working with you is that you don't just do detox in your practice. You also are looking at other people's, kind of vitamin counts and things like that, nutritional deficiencies, and how the detoxification process actually sometimes highlights the need for these things,
Yes.
which is why you tell people whatever you do, just don't stop taking your ID nutrition.
Correct. So there's two pieces on that. One of the big ones is that let's say that you're getting 20% of the B vitamins, you're getting 70% of the CoQ, and you're getting 30% of the probiotic. If you take any of that amount away, your body has already calculated out, hey, look, this is how much nutrient I'm going to get, so this is how I'm going to spend my energy. If you take that away, your body goes, I have to figure out other sources now. So continue with the ID life, your constant nutrition that we're getting in right now. But the other thing is that as we detoxify, oftentimes we're going to have to increase our metabolism to get these things done. That's going to require more ATP. It's going to require more energy. So it's going to need that CoQ10. It's going to need all those things that we're taking in anyway to get through this process. In fact, a lot of times when we do heavy detoxes, we'll do extra nutrients just to make sure the body has a little bit extra to get through it.
Got it. So a lot of people are still in that first couple of weeks. You know, they're kind of going through it, and we're walking people through. Obviously, the first question is always, "Are you drinking enough water?"
Yep.
The answer for a lot of people is yes. I'm drinking so much water. I'm going to the bathroom all the time, and they say it almost like it's a negative.
Oh God, no.
But one of the things we've talked about is going to the bathroom is actually your body getting rid of the things it doesn't need. It truly is part of the detoxification process.
Yes.
But there's a lot of people that have decided at the same time, and I want to make sure you touch on this again, as they're going through the detox, they've also completely shifted or changed their diet.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we talk a little bit about when we make those major dietary shifts and we're doing a detox, how the body can react to all of those various signals that we're sending it.
Yeah. So I always try to tell people, let's either work on your diet today or work on your detox today. Don't try to do both at the same time, because anytime that you do, hey, I did 7 new things and I had this issue, I don't know which variable it was you changed that created this problem. So, if you're going to change your diet, the only diet that I pretty much across the board can get on board with is cutting out added sugars. Because if you're like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit, cleaner with my diet, I'm going to cut out processed foods and cut out, processed sugars, that's always going to be a good idea. If you decided, hey, I'm going to go from vegan to carnivore, that raises massive problems in and of itself. So let's not try to make wild changes with our diet while we're trying to do this, because your body's going to have to deal with all of that at once, and it doesn't always play well.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that we highlight that, because one of the recommendations that we're making is, for the most part, getting rid of kind of the what I call the fad 5, like my own little fad 5. Different than maybe if you're in my generation, what that is. It's basically your sugars, your processed foods, your fast foods, your restaurant foods, and limit your alcohol. I mean, limiting the intake of those things is really going to help along the way. But I do know that there's a lot of people out there that they basically said, you know what? I'm having massive headaches with the detox. I just can't get rid of my headaches. Have you changed anything? No, haven't changed a thing. I did stop drinking caffeine.
You're like, the number one thing we look at for headache for caffeine withdrawals is headaches.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, that's always the funny one.
So I just want to make sure that we talk through that. So we've got a lot of people moving through week 2, about to get to week 3, and we've told people, hey, look, if you can get through this, there's light on the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
So I don't want to do this kind of lunch and learn without at least talking about some of the benefits that people are going to start seeing. A lot of people are already seeing them, but I want to make sure you kind of highlight some of the things that you've seen in your own patients as they finish the detox and get ready for what's next.
So one of the big ones I always try to talk to people about is when people say, well, I'm overweight. I'm like, well, let's back up on that. Are you overweight or are you over fat? Because a lot of people are carrying around pounds and pounds of extra inflammation. I had a lady come in the other day that we did a detox on. She lost 20 pounds in just the inflammation. And so that's one of the things we're starting to see is a dumping of this inflammation. So people get on the scale and they go, oh my gosh, I've lost so much weight. That was inflammation. That was extra water and all things that you were holding. So we're seeing a big change in weight. We're seeing people feeling better, just like, hey, I just have more energy. I just feel I can move around more. Well, again, that goes back to that inflammation piece, because as we pull inflammation out of the body, all the function of the body works better. Nerves function better. Everything works better. So that's going to be another piece. People just feel better. One of the things I've always had people tell me is when they get halfway through a detox, they go, you know what's weird? Colors are sharper. I can see better. Right. As we take the inflammation off the brain and the eyes, sometimes we'll see people who have better vision. My favorite one is when people come in and tell me that they're no longer waking up between 2 and 4 in the morning. Because one, that tells me that the liver's doing better. But if we can sleep better everything in our life gets better because that's when we regenerate. That's when we heal. That's when we grow. Those are super duper important that we get high quality sleep. So that's probably one of my favorite ones. But then as we start flushing out the yeast and the parasites and stuff, the sugar cravings go away. It makes it much easier to eat right and diet right. We're seeing people whose brain fog's going away. They tell us they no longer walk into rooms and forget why they go in there, or at least it's gotten a lot better. So those are some of the things that we're starting to see. Energy up. Working out is actually being more beneficial. They're seeing their gains a little bit better. So that's normally what we see with detox like this.
Got it. Well, one of the great things about this program is, we're here for you. We're going to continue to do different things as you ask for them. We're going to answer questions. We're going to provide you information. We're going to provide you tools, and we're going to start talking about what's next.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of people that are getting ready to finish the detox, and now you're ready to go on and challenge whatever it is you want to challenge.
Yeah.
Is it a weight loss goal? Is it a fitness goal? Is it just a general health goal? Or, hey, maybe it's even a round 2 of detox, which is a possibility for some people that, are really in a bad situation. So, there's a lot of those conversations still to be had. But on behalf of myself and Dr. Chalmers, and until next time, we're here for you. And the detox program is in full swing. And we look forward to hearing all your stories. And until next time, talk to you soon.